Have you ever wondered what it's like to face serious illness in the public eye? Can you imagine fighting for your life while millions watch? Number 9. Chadwick Boseman. Did you know that the Black Panther fought a real-life battle more heroic than any Marvel storyline? Chadwick Boseman's death in August 2020 shocked the world because he had kept his 4-year struggle with colon cancer almost entirely private. The 43-year-old actor continued filming physically demanding roles while undergoing surgeries and chemotherapy treatments. Boseman was diagnosed with stage III colon cancer in 2016, which eventually progressed to stage IV. During this time, he completed filming for several movies including Marshall, Da 5 Bloods, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and the groundbreaking Black Panther. His widow, Taylor Simone Ledward, became his caregiver and constant support throughout his illness. After his passing, the public learned how Boseman would schedule his film shoots around his treatments, never complaining and always delivering powerful performances despite his physical discomfort. His longtime agent Michael Green revealed that Boseman's mother taught him not to let people fuss over him, which partly explained his decision to keep his diagnosis private. The actor visited children with cancer at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital while privately battling the disease himself, a fact that gained new poignancy after his death. Colleagues described how Boseman would sometimes appear exhausted between takes, but would spring to life when the cameras rolled. His dedication to his craft while facing such personal challenges has cemented his legacy not just as an actor who broke barriers with his portrayal of King T'Challa, but as someone whose real-life courage matched that of the heroes he portrayed. Number 8. Alex Trebek. What happens when a beloved television host who's entered millions of living rooms for decades faces a terminal diagnosis? Alex Trebek, the longtime host of Jeopardy, announced his stage IV pancreatic cancer diagnosis in March 2019 with characteristic directness and humor. The Canadian-American game show host continued filming episodes throughout his treatment, missing only a handful of tapings despite the grueling effects of chemotherapy. Trebek was remarkably candid about his journey, sharing updates about his health in interviews and short segments on Jeopardy! He spoke openly about his physical pain, emotional struggles, and the challenges of treatment. In a particularly moving interview, he admitted to experiencing severe depression during his illness and revealed that he sometimes cried in pain, though he would pull himself together before hosting the show. Trebek's honesty extended to discussing the harsh realities of his prognosis. Pancreatic cancer has one of the lowest survival rates of all major cancers. Despite this, he maintained an attitude of cautious optimism, celebrating when his tumors shrunk and being transparent when his numbers rose again. He published a memoir, The Answer Is: Reflections on My Life, in July 2020, just months before his death in November of that year. During his final year, Trebek continued to host Jeopardy! Even as the COVID-19 pandemic added additional complications to production. His last episodes were filmed just days before his death at age 80, showing his extraordinary commitment to the show and its viewers. Trebek's decision to share his cancer journey publicly helped raise awareness about pancreatic cancer and provided an example of how to face mortality with dignity, humor, and grace. Number 7. Olivia Newton-John. How does a pop culture icon turn a decades-long cancer battle into a mission to help others? Olivia Newton-John's journey with breast cancer began in 1992, but her most public battle came when she revealed in 2017 that the cancer had returned and metastasized to her sacrum. The Grease star and 4-time Grammy winner approached her illness with remarkable openness and optimism. Her initial diagnosis came the same weekend her father died of cancer, adding emotional complexity to her journey. After her first diagnosis, Newton-John underwent a partial mastectomy, chemotherapy, and breast reconstruction. She emerged as a passionate advocate for cancer research and early detection, helping to establish the Olivia Newton-John Cancer Wellness and Research Center in her native Australia. When her cancer returned in 2017, Newton-John was candid about using medical marijuana alongside conventional treatments to manage her pain, becoming an outspoken advocate for cannabis as a complementary therapy. She revealed in 2018 that she was treating a third occurrence of cancer, this time with the disease having spread to her bones. Throughout these recurrences, Newton-John continued to record music, perform when she could, and raise funds for cancer research. She spoke frequently about how her diagnosis had deepened her appreciation for life and strengthened her spiritual beliefs. The singer released a memoir, Don't Stop Believin', in which she detailed her cancer journey and the various approaches she took to treatment, including herbal medicine, meditation, and positive thinking alongside conventional medical care. Newton-John's husband, John Easterling, often joined her in interviews to discuss how they faced her illness together. When she passed away in August 2022 at age 73, the outpouring of grief reflected not just her cultural impact, but the inspiration many found in how she lived with cancer for so many years with honesty, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to helping others facing similar diagnoses. Number 6. Patrick Swayze. Can you imagine filming a TV series while undergoing aggressive cancer treatment? Patrick Swayze did exactly that after being diagnosed with stage IV pancreatic cancer in January 2008. The star of Dirty Dancing and Ghost shocked Hollywood by continuing to work on the A&E series The Beast while battling one of the most lethal forms of cancer. Swayze's diagnosis came during a time when he was experiencing a career resurgence. Initially given just weeks to live, he underwent experimental treatments at Stanford University Medical Center. Against all odds, he not only outlived those early predictions but also completed filming an entire season of The Beast, working 12-hour days despite the physical toll of his illness and treatments. The actor lost 20 pounds during his battle but performed his own stunts on the show, refusing a stand-in. In a Barbara Walters interview that aired in January 2009, Swayze spoke candidly about his fear of dying, but emphasized his determination to live fully for as long as possible. His wife, Lisa Nemi, became his primary caregiver and staunchest advocate. Together, they navigated the complex world of cancer treatment, exploring both conventional and alternative approaches. Swayze's public battle included a frank admission about his previous lifestyle choices. He had been a heavy smoker for decades before his diagnosis. He used his platform to encourage others to make healthier choices. The actor wrote a memoir with his wife titled The Time of My Life, which was published shortly after his death in September 2009. Throughout his 20-month battle with cancer, Swayze maintained remarkable transparency about his condition while demonstrating extraordinary resilience. His oncologist, Dr. George Fisher, noted that Swayze's response to treatment was exceptional, attributing it partly to the actor's physical fitness and determination. When he eventually succumbed to the disease at age 57, Swayze left behind a legacy not just of iconic film roles but of facing terminal illness with courage, honesty, and an undiminished zest for life. Number 5. Robin Williams. Did you know that one of comedy's brightest stars was fighting invisible battles long before his tragic end? Robin Williams' death by suicide in August 2014 initially appeared to be related to his long-documented struggles with depression and substance abuse. However, the autopsy revealed something few knew. Williams had been suffering from Lewy body dementia, the second most common type of progressive dementia after Alzheimer's disease. While Williams never publicly disclosed this diagnosis before his death, his widow Susan Schneider Williams later became an advocate for LBD awareness, sharing details of his struggle in a neurological journal article titled The Terrorist Inside My Husband's Brain. According to Susan, Williams had been experiencing symptoms for years: paranoia, anxiety, memory problems, and physical impairment, but received an accurate diagnosis only after his death. In the years leading up to his passing, Williams continued to work while privately coping with troubling symptoms that bewildered his doctors. He had been misdiagnosed with Parkinson's disease just months before his death. The cognitive decline was particularly cruel for someone whose lightning-quick mind had been central to his identity and career. Williams' longtime friend Billy Crystal later revealed that during their last meetings, he noticed Williams crying and showing significant weight loss. During the filming of Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, completed shortly before his death, Williams struggled to remember lines, an entirely new experience for an actor known for his improvisational brilliance. Susan Schneider-Williams described how, in their final year together, Robin would ask if they had been doing something together that morning when they hadn't, showing signs of the confusion that characterizes Lewy body dementia. Despite these challenges, Williams continued to engage with charitable causes, particularly his work with the USO, performing for troops overseas. His death at age 63 sparked important conversations about mental health, suicide, and eventually, the devastating impact of Lewy body dementia. Though Williams himself never spoke publicly about his final diagnosis, his case has raised awareness about this relatively unknown but common form of dementia, potentially helping others receive earlier and more accurate diagnoses. Number 4. Steve Jobs. How long can one of the world's most innovative minds hide a serious illness while running a global tech giant? Steve Jobs, the visionary co-founder of Apple, was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer in 2003, but kept his condition relatively private for years while continuing to transform the technology industry. Jobs initially alarmed the business world by appearing gaunt at Apple events, leading to speculation about his health. In 2004, he announced that he had undergone successful surgery for pancreatic cancer, specifically a rare type called pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor, which has a better prognosis than the more common form. However, Jobs was not entirely transparent about the severity of his condition. He experimented with alternative treatments and special diets before agreeing to surgery, a decision he reportedly later regretted as it may have allowed his cancer to spread. As his illness progressed, Jobs took a 6-month leave of absence from Apple in 2009, during which he underwent a liver transplant, a fact that was only revealed after the procedure. His medical privacy became a point of controversy, with some shareholders arguing they had a right to know more about the CEO's health given its potential impact on the company's future. Jobs appeared increasingly frail in his public appearances during 2010 and 2011. At his final product launches, his trademark black turtleneck hung loosely on his thin frame, yet he continued to present Apple's innovations with characteristic enthusiasm. In August 2011, Jobs resigned as CEO of Apple, writing that he could no longer meet my duties and expectations. He died just weeks later on October 5, 2011, at age 56. Jobs' authorized biography, released shortly after his death, revealed more details about his 8-year battle with cancer and his complex relationship with modern medicine. He alternated between embracing cutting-edge treatments and pursuing alternative approaches, reflecting his lifelong tendency to forge his own path. Despite his deteriorating health, Jobs continued to work on Apple products until nearly the end of his life, with his fingerprints clearly visible on designs released even after his death. His simultaneous embrace of technological innovation and reluctance to fully disclose his medical condition created a complicated legacy regarding how public figures navigate illness while leading major organizations. Number 3. David Bowie. Can an artist transform even their final days into a profound creative statement? David Bowie, the legendary musician known for constantly reinventing himself, kept his liver cancer diagnosis almost completely private for 18 months before his death in January 2016. What the public didn't know was that Bowie's final album, Black Star, released just 2 days before his death, was deliberately crafted as a parting gift and meditation on mortality. Bowie received his diagnosis in mid-2014 while working on the off-Broadway musical Lazarus. Despite undergoing treatments, he continued creating with remarkable focus and energy. According to those close to him, including longtime producer Tony Visconti, Bowie wrote and recorded Black Star as a parting gift to fans. The album's lyrics and haunting music videos, particularly for the songs Black Star and Lazarus, in which he appears frail in a hospital bed with bandaged eyes, take on profound meaning when understood as created by someone aware of his impending death. Throughout his illness, Bowie maintained such privacy that his death at age 69 stunned even industry insiders. He made his final public appearance at the December 2015 premiere of the Lazarus musical, where attendees noted he seemed in good spirits despite looking frail. Only a tiny circle of friends and collaborators knew about his condition. Bowie reportedly learned his cancer was terminal 3 months before his death during the filming of the Lazarus video. Director Johan Renck revealed that Bowie didn't know the full extent of his illness during the initial video concept discussions, but by the time of filming, he had received the news that his treatment would be discontinued. Despite this devastating prognosis, Bowie continued working until the very end. According to his longtime friend and collaborator Ivo van Hove, Bowie would attend rehearsals for Lazarus after undergoing chemotherapy treatments. He was writing new material and planning his next project even in his final weeks. Bowie's decision to transform his illness and mortality into art without publicly discussing his condition created one of the most poignant artistic farewells in contemporary culture. The revelation after his death that Black Star was created as a conscious goodbye added layers of meaning to an already complex work, allowing fans to experience his final artistic statement as the deliberate closing chapter he intended it to be. Number 2. Farrah Fawcett. What happens when a 1970s sex symbol decides to document her cancer battle on camera? Farrah Fawcett, the Charlie's Angels star known for her iconic red swimsuit poster, took the unusual step of filming her fight against anal cancer, resulting in the documentary Farrah's Story, which aired shortly before her death in June 2009. Fawcett was first diagnosed with anal cancer in 2006. After undergoing traditional treatments in the United States, she went into remission, only to have the cancer return in 2007. Frustrated with U.S. medical options and concerned about privacy violations after her medical records were illegally accessed and leaked to tabloids, Fawcett traveled to Germany for experimental treatments not available in America. She began documenting her cancer journey with her friend Alana Stewart operating a handheld camera. What started as personal video diaries evolved into a full-length documentary as Fawcett realized the potential impact of sharing her experience. The footage captured raw, intimate moments, Fawcett shaving her own head before chemotherapy could claim her famous blonde hair, enduring painful treatments, and confronting the reality that her cancer had spread to her liver. Throughout her 3-year battle, Fawcett maintained a complicated relationship with publicity. While she chose to document her illness, she also fought against the paparazzi who pursued her for unflattering photos. When NBC aired Farrah's Story in May 2009, nearly 9 million viewers tuned in, making it one of the most watched programs of the year. The documentary showed Fawcett's determination, fear, and moments of both despair and hope. Her longtime partner Ryan O'Neal remained by her side throughout her illness, as did her friend Alana Stewart. Fawcett established the Farrah Fawcett Foundation before her death, focusing on HPV-related cancers like the one that took her life. She died at age 62, with her unconventional approach to publicizing her cancer journey helping to raise awareness about anal cancer and HPV-related cancers in general. The documentary served multiple purposes for Fawcett. It allowed her to control her own narrative rather than leaving it to tabloids, created awareness about a cancer that receives relatively little public attention, and left a final communication with her fans. Her decision to share such vulnerable moments represented a dramatic departure from her carefully cultivated image as a glamorous icon and revealed her determination to find meaning in her suffering by potentially helping others. Number 1. Gilda Radner. How can laughter coexist with a devastating diagnosis? Gilda Radner, one of the original cast members of Saturday Night Live and creator of beloved characters like Roseanne, faced ovarian cancer with the same authenticity and humor that characterized her groundbreaking comedy. Radner's cancer journey began with misdiagnosis and frustration. For months, doctors attributed her fatigue and pain to various causes, from Epstein-Barr virus to psychological issues. By the time she was correctly diagnosed with stage IV ovarian cancer in October 1986, the disease had already advanced considerably. Radner underwent surgery and chemotherapy, experiencing all the brutal side effects of treatment. During her illness, she wrote the memoir It's Always Something, documenting her cancer experience with unflinching honesty and her signature humor. The title came from her Roseanne Rosenadana character's catchphrase, reflecting how Radner maintained her comedic perspective even in dire circumstances. What made Radner's public battle particularly significant was her openness during an era when cancer was still often discussed in whispers. She appeared on The Today Show with her husband, Gene Wilder, to discuss her experience with cancer. During the interview, she expressed hope about her remission and discussed the emotional aspects of battling a life-threatening illness. Radner also spoke about how difficult it was to receive a correct diagnosis, raising awareness about ovarian cancer's elusive symptoms. After going into remission, Radner began working with cancer support groups, finding particular comfort in the wellness community, an organization that provided psychological and social support to cancer patients. Her activism and openness about her illness helped destigmatize cancer and emphasized the importance of emotional well-being alongside medical treatment. Unfortunately, Radner's cancer returned, and she passed away in May 1989 at age 42. After her death, Wilder helped establish Gilda's Club, a network of support communities for people living with cancer. These centers, marked by a distinctive red door, provide free emotional and social support to cancer patients and their families, continuing the work Radner began during her own illness. Radner's legacy extends beyond her groundbreaking comedy to include her role in changing how we talk about cancer and support those affected by it. Her willingness to share her experience with honesty and humor helped countless others feel less alone in their own health struggles. Have you ever noticed how celebrities' public battles with illness change our perception of these diseases? What will be the legacy of those who choose to share their most vulnerable moments with the world?